I think this is working now. Let's see. Save changes. Live control. Okay. I don't know if anyone's here, but I'm live. I can't actually hear myself, which is strange because its microphone's not on. Let's see. Hello? 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 Can someone hear me? Let me know if you hear me. I can't hear myself. Let's see. The microphone. Okay. Okay, people can hear me, so headphones can go on. Well, welcome back to another live event. It's been a week since last week's event, and it's been good. I've been getting questions. Sucky part about this whole online event is that they hide your, how would you say, the comments disappear. So that's pretty bad. I had to copy and paste them before closing the window, and I just have screenshots. So I don't know if you guys want me to add them on the comments as Flickr pictures or something, but yeah, the conversation kind of dies after it's been live. So that kind of sad. Hi to Kuwait. Nice to see someone from the East connecting here. And today I have a few things I can talk if no one has questions, but as always, feel free to ask anything you want. I'll try to help my best. I arranged a few things here next to me to see how that would work, considering that maybe not a lot of people would show up. I didn't know how to set a live event and give you guys a preview. I've actually learned today. So next time I'll give you like a few days time to know that it's going to happen. I brought something that maybe a lot of people haven't seen, and on the Chamonix website you can buy bag bellows, but they don't actually show any pictures. They say they'll show them soon, and I have a few here. So I wanted to show you how small this is. It comes in this little package which looks like a filter holder, and these are the bag bellows, so you can use wide angle lenses. They're actually pretty affordable considering they're like $140. So if you guys have a Chamonix N2, F1, and H1, or N1, you can use bag bellows pretty easily. So yeah, I highly recommend it if you use wide angles. So I just want to show you that. They also have them for bigger formats like 8x10, 11x14, and so forth. I also got some pictures from my lab, some film developed, and I actually would like to talk to like the fact of how I think it's important to, you know, use labs when you can if you don't do it yourself, because I mean, I used to do all my color myself, but I don't shoot that much anymore. This is 6x4.5. Let's see if you can actually kind of see it there. There's a Fuji 645W. I have a video made on it, so you guys will see this video sometime soon. Yeah, you can't see much. But yeah, I use my lab here in Spain. Does E6 and C41 every day, black and white too. And it's actually pretty nice and affordable to kind of scan and do my color when I do it. So yeah, then also last week we talked about that 6x9 camera, and this is a little film back from that camera, so you guys can see this is the 6x7 version, but it's very small, and it will allow you to shoot medium format film when you're shooting with movements. So this is the back. The 4x5 will have like an extra piece of metal that will adapt to the back. So be careful when you're buying 4x5 medium format backs, because they will need that extra bit, and these are for 6x9 cameras, or some are even adaptable to Mamiya RZs. Then I also got in the mail lens which is a 210 rod and stock macro. Hi to Paris. This is something I hope to use on a project I want to do. It's a 210, it covers 8x10. It's for macro, and I want to do, I don't know, portraits of hands, things like that on 8x10 film. It's on a Copal 3. The shutter's a little slow at 1 second, but I'm not too concerned because I don't think I can live without the 1 second. I can work around that. So yeah, that's came in its box, which is pretty sweet. So if you've never seen a rod and stock box, this is what they look like. I wish I would have started shooting film when these things were still available easily. So it would have been pretty nice to buy them new, even though they were worth like 10 times more than today. Then I also have here, just in case anyone has questions about Rolleiflexes, sorry. Leica lenses or Leica cameras. And a lot of people are curious about this camera here, which is the Zeiss Icon ZM, or Z or ZM. And this is a Leica M2, so you can compare. The good thing about the Zeiss, it has aperture priority. So if you're like really in a run and gun kind of guy and you're shooting weddings or you're shooting your kids or some stuff like that, the Zeiss will actually be really fast. It meters on the go. It has a little button on the back that you can press, and that will keep exposure fixed, and then you can shoot. The viewfinder is super, has a lot of, it's very bright. And the only problem I see on the viewfinder is that the moment your eye is not spot on the middle, you'll lose the rangefinder patch. So yeah, you be careful if you ever get one of these. It's not as easy as to focus because of that alignment with the viewfinder and the rangefinder. So yeah, that's what I have around here. And if you guys have questions anytime, just jump in, ask something. I also have a Chamonix, or Chamonix. I say Chamonix because I'm Spain. I guess we don't know how to pronounce French, and that's how we say it. So I'm sorry if I say that wrong. I have an F1 folded. It's pretty small and lightweight. If you guys want to go 4x5 and lightweight with a new camera, this is one of the, I think, best options around. I'm not saying it's the best, but it's one of the best for sure. Exchangeable bellows like you saw. It has the asymmetrical tilt on the back to correct that Schlemflung effect. Like, you know, you can win that. It's pretty useful. Okay, so first question from Kuwait, Ahmed. What do you think about the Leica CL? Actually, I've been wanting to get into, not wanting to get into, but like I've been wanting to buy Minolta CLE. I don't know why I kind of like it better than the Leica. I know they were developed at the same time, I think joining together like Leica, Minolta. And I find that Leica actually looks to me kind of not unfinished, but it looks more like it'll break on my hands. I saw the Leica MCLE in a London meetup with a film and beer. Actually, oh, I forgot his name. That's bad. Lion's Mane, Aslan. Aslan had one, and it's amazingly small. And the shutter release has like not biometrics, but like sensitive to your skin. And the moment you touch it, it'll activate and start working. I find them really big, like really nice because they're small. They have a aperture priority, and they work great. So yeah, I have my M2, which I love, but I wouldn't mind having one of those little Minoltas, maybe with a 28, so I can just run around behind my kids. I actually bought Olympus XA4 for that, which has a 28 and lets you push to 1600, because I shoot all my black and white on my Leica at 1600. So I need cameras that will push to 1600. So if I had to go for a Leica CL, I don't know a lot about them, and I don't know what quirks they have, but I would probably go for the Minolta CLE. I like it better aesthetically. It has the M mount. It has the Minolta glass, which works really well. I have a lot of friends that love that 40 millimeters Summicron. And yeah, that's what I would say if you're thinking about that. Check out both options. I think both are interesting enough. Find whichever one is cheaper, or you think that people talk better about, you know, them not failing with their electronics or their meter cells. I know that there's some problems with how do you say, the wide angle lenses won't work with TTL metering. So just be careful if you want a 21 shooter or 15 millimeter shooter. Check out that that works. I think Ken Rockwell, as much as people dislike him, has like useful information about the CLE. So next thing, in the latest news episode, Ryan Rivers, I'm gonna have to read the comments because these disappear after. So Ryan Rivers says, in the latest news episode, you mentioned about the Plaubel Machina technician retiring. Do you think this is going to be a problem for us in the future regarding other cameras? Yeah, I manage the Spanish forum for medium format here in Spain called formatomedio.eu. And which I'll type just in case you guys know Spanish, but formatomedio.eu. Sorry, I can't do multitasking. And a guy called Plaubel and was like, hey, like I need to send my Machina in, what's going on? And they were basically like, hey, our technician retired. We're trying to find an arrangement where we can ship cameras to him and he'll fix as, I guess, a retirement like kind of job to do. And they're trying to see what's going to happen with that. I actually think that's kind of bad news for the people that have a Machina. I don't know anyone with a Machina that hasn't had to send it in for a little, you know, CLA, broken light meter, like something's not working properly. They're great cameras. They're built pretty well, but they're aging, and the option to have them refurbished at the factory was great. And I think if that is no longer going to be an option, I would run and call Plaubel and be like, I need to send my camera as soon as possible. If that's going to be a problem for us in the future regarding other cameras, I do think it is going to be a problem. I think people are going to retire. If you know, like there's a Camera Ventures article. If you don't know, it's cameraventures.com, and I think it's /help or something like that. I'll try to see if I can link it later, but if you write cameraventures.com, you'll find it. It's like Save Analog Film or Analog Photography. And basically the main problem he's been finding is that most of the repair people are retiring. So yeah, that's not good news. I don't know anyone that repairs that's young. I don't know anyone that's properly trained that repairs that's young, because you know you always get like, oh, factory trained at Leica or factory trained at Rolleiflex. People in the States, yeah, you got Yuxin Yi in the States that also I think was a Leica repairman or trained. And these people are not getting any younger. And I don't know if there's anyone picking up that repair skills. So yeah, I think we should try to send more cameras to get fixed, or at least, you know, keep them alive, even though your Hasselblad is working great. Like just contact Hasselblad. I know Hasselblad in Spain still fixes them own, and I think in the States they do too. But they're already being like, oh, I won't fix your Hasselblad 80 millimeters C lens, those silver ones, they won't fix anymore because they're in the old Comper shutters and they don't have spares. So that's going to be a problem. I think it's going to come to a point, there's going to be so many broken cameras and there's not going to be that many repairmen that someone hopefully will pick up and fit and build cameras again. I don't know what the price will be, probably not cheap, and I don't know what the quality will be, considering that now we're in the age of things lasting for 2-3 years and then being obsolete. You know, cell phones, computers, and all these things. So I'm scared to see what would it be if we had a new Hasselblad, if it would work for 20 years like it's working today. Actually, something funny and people don't know is the Hasselblad with 100 megapixel back is adaptable. They have a back for film. They came back for film backs because people were asking like, hey, I want to shoot like 100 megapixels in my studio, but I also want to have an option for black and white or film. And they came back with that. I think it's like 800 euros for the back. But if you are one of those people, you can invest on buying one of those backs. So yeah, that's what I think about fixing cameras and the future of that. Some Colac from France asks you if I've heard about the Olympus OM1. Actually, I have. Today I was asking some friends about cheap entry cameras, and they recommended the Olympus OM2N. The OM1, I don't know if it had a little issue. It used to be the Olympus M1 till Leica, I guess, screamed like, hey, M-Line is my brand name. And they're awesome little cameras. I had an OM4 the other day in my hands, and they're really small. And the lenses are great. Olympus Zuiko lenses are really good. I'm trying to get myself an OM2N, basically to kind of like learn, teach some kiddos I want to show photography and something simple. So yeah, if you're gonna go to Olympus, I think if a friend of mine recommended me the OM3 as the best option, but it was a bit pricier, so the OM2N as a budget and a good overall camera for Olympus. So that's what I know about them. Melon Gelon, I don't know if that's English or Spanish. With what developer do you develop your black and white? I too push Ilford to 1600, but sometimes don't like the grain. My developer gets used, gets me. My developer gets me. I use Kodak T-Max developer. I use HC 110. Let me take a picture up from here. So I use Kodak HC 110. This is a frame picture. Probably the lights will blind you guys. Let me check it out. I gotta wait, there's a small delay. So this is 1600 HP5, and it has no grain. Like, it actually has a little bit of grain, and it looks pretty good. Everyone that's seen this picture in person had been like, this is not, looks like 1600 film. Also, when you push film and you develop it, you know, and you gain some contrast, you gain some grain, but that all gets like absorbed by the paper, especially if you don't print too big. That's an 8x10 paper, so the picture is a little smaller. If you scan, it's so much worse. I've had that picture scanned, and it's just like huge blobs of grain, or at least that's what I feel because I've seen the proper print. So yeah, I highly recommend HC 110 for pushing HP5. That's what I do. I push HP5 to 1600 ever since I bought the Leica M2. Probably shot like 100-ish, no, like 120, 140 rolls on that, all the same. And it's worked great. So I highly recommend you try it out. And it's like a syrup. It's super easy to prepare, lasts forever. I've had a bottle open for like the last 5 to 6 years before I picked it up again, and then I haven't stopped using that developer. You also say young people are not used to repairing things anymore. We're used to buying a new object instead of repair it. That's actually pretty true. There's not that much culture for repairing, but I think in the film, people understand these things are still repairable still, and we'll keep repairing, hopefully. But yeah, that's what I develop with, and that's what I think about people not repairing. Yeah, any more questions? The Olympus line was pretty interesting. It's a small, I have a Pentax MX or MV, sorry if I don't know for sure, which is really good too. It's really small. And I like that whole 35 SLR that looks small, because I come from like days, I used to shoot like skateboarding pictures, and you wanted like the high speed, ultra frame rate, or frames per second. And they were big cameras, the F4, the F5. And now I'm finding these little SLRs, and they're pretty nice and small. I sold my MJU2 and bought a Pen FT. I'm waiting in front of the mailbox for 2 days now. Actually, I have my MJU here too, with some Superia 200. I'm running real low in stock of film, so I'm shooting all those weird rolls you never have, like you never want to shoot. So let me know how that pen goes, and I'm really curious and jealous about what that goes like. I'm telling you, I want to shoot half frame more and see how it goes. Like I'm really curious about the half frame. Okay, Ahmed again says, do you recommend monobath developer for a person who starts film photography? Monobaths have been around like 100+ years, and they were left on the side for a reason, and they're not very consistent. They kind of like, you think it's all in one, so you got your developer, your stop, and your fix in one liquid. So it just feels like wrong. I've seen Matt Day had a video on the developer Monobath developer from New 55. I think it was the R3, and he had streaks and everything, but that was like his first few rolls. So I don't think you can make a review. Nothing against Matt Day. Just using it once or twice or just 5 rolls. I think one has to try things out for a long time. But New 55 actually answered him about it, and I'm sure that Sam from New 55 develops with Monobath a lot, and he's getting good results. For someone who starts in film, I would say when you have that start, that curve to start, you don't want to make mistakes. So you got to try to keep things as controlled as possible. So you want to use your camera that maybe send the first roll to a lab that's a good lab, so that the camera's working. Buy fresh film so it's not expired or something funky happened. And keep like the normal developing method that everyone's used for every day. So I would recommend going with something really simple, like use Kodak D76. Even though you said you're in Kuwait, I'm really curious about those countries around where you live, and how film and chemicals are available or not, because I know there's a lot of people shooting film and stuff around Dubai and places like that, but I know there's probably some limitations to what you can buy. So I would say start with like Kodak D76. 1.1 is really easy, and then you can stop with water, just put it in water at 20 degrees Celsius, and then fix it, and you'll be fine. I wouldn't say start off with Monobath. It's like all about like, oh, it's so simple. You just put it in, you wait a little bit, but you might get streaks, you might get added grain, you might get like, there's all these problems that can happen from monobaths that are not in our control, or maybe they are, but we're not used to it. So I would recommend starting with something more traditional. So I'd say monobaths is a great thing, but I wouldn't say it for starting. I would say start the normal way with something very like known to everyone, like D76. I hope that answered your question, Ahmed. Melongelon, as a beginner to develop at home, I find the DevChart app very handy. It is, and that's actually a good point. There's actually a few people talking about that, but I have my phone here. Let me check it out for you guys. I have the massive dev too. It's like, I think you got to pay for like $8 or something like that, but it's so useful. It's called Digital Truth. And I have, you have all these films that are just available here. People, I don't know how they do their input about what the developing times are, but it's a great start for learning. So if you're shooting HP5 or you're shooting any weird film, it's usually there. It's all black and white. So it's a great pointer. Thanks for pointing that out. It's very handy, helps you with the timing, has like its own like timer and dim light, red light. So yeah, a great way to start. Film's almost dead in Kuwait. There's one place that developed film. So yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Don't think it's much better in some other countries. Here in Spain, it's not that it's dead, but it's getting harder, even though we do have Europe and the free commerce, and we buy from Germany, England, even though England's now coming out, so we'll wonder where that happens. But yeah, I'm sad. If you ever need help with something, I mean, I'm glad to help you out. I don't know how shipping to Kuwait is, or if you guys can manage a way to ship yourself goods. I'm sure Magalidek and people like that will ship there. So I would recommend checking it out, at least asking. Chemicals is the trouble. So D76 is good as a powder, so it maybe shouldn't be that much of a problem to travel. Colac from France, Paris, France, asks, what do you think about Pentacon 6x6? I actually started with Pentacon 6, not started, but I had like a Pentacon after my first camera, medium format camera, which was a Pentacon 6x6 with the 80, then I bought the 180. It's an amazing camera. I have to say the lenses are great. That 180 2.8 has that unfocused like blur or bokeh or whatever, which is amazing. The lens is massive. but they do have a problem. Like you have to load them very well. Like you got to keep that tension when you crank the winder, because if not, it'll give like uneven spacing. And you're gonna have, there's two Pentacons, the ones that are broken or the ones that are gonna break. So that's why the bodies are usually cheaper. The lenses are amazing. So if you want to try it out, I would say go ahead and buy something, but don't go for the super, super deal. Try to find something that someone can say it works. So buy something that you know works. And then if it breaks on you, a body won't be that much money. So don't be too scared about trying a system that can break. I mean, if you buy, what is it? The Norita 6x6 camera with the 80 f2, that breaks. Those cameras are like $1,000. Like that'd be sad. But like a Pentacon, you can buy for like $150 for a body. So don't be too scared. And they're amazing lenses. So I recommend it. I have a Flickr, which I haven't updated in like 20 years. But if you go there, I think it's Nicolas Yacera. Let me see if I can find it for you guys. And you guys can laugh a little bit. If I'm too boring, you can just listen to me talking and check my horrible Flickr account. Photo stream. Here, I'm sharing my pictures. These are all really old, but you can check there, and there's like a folder, I think, or I don't know how they arranged it, Flickr. They arranged it by albums, and you can click on albums, and you will find a Pentacon. These are really old pictures. Pentacon 6. There's 11 pictures. Probably did 2 rolls or 4 rolls on that camera and then sold it. But yeah, okay. I'm gonna go to the next one. How do you store your negatives? I'm paranoid about them fading over time, but I'm not sure if it's a myth. First thing about storing your negatives, the best part about what you can do with them is fix them properly and wash them properly. So more of an issue of how you store them, it's how you like treated them, develop when you developed. I go pretty paranoid about cleaning. Like I wash them forever. I think the recommended Ilford system is like, I don't know, like 2 agitations, 3 agitations, 4, I don't know. I've never done it by hand. I use a Jovo, but I would wash it for like 12 minutes. So it takes like forever to wash. And then what I use is a print file, like pH, neutral pH sleeves. And then I buy the print file folders. I have a folder back there, but it's full of stuff on top, so I can't show you. If there's a darkroom video that I made. It's somewhere like maybe in the last 15 videos. And you can find out. It's a horrible, shabby video. I was doing it Instagram Live, and you can see my binders there and probably some of my negatives and how I do that. And I don't know if they're fade over time. A lot of people say they don't. I have film that's been not properly stored. Like I had a shoebox in a humid room for the last, I was 18 and I'm 35, 34 now. So like forever ago, and they're still fine. So I don't think it's that important to be so crazy about it. So just basically don't go paranoid. Tom Rogers from England, thanks for saying it's a good stream. I'm actually pretty nervous every time I start. Thoughts on the Leica 3F and other screw mount Leicas? I actually have a Leica 3F, I think, and I don't use it because I've always, I guess I got an M and I started using that whole double one viewfinder, but they're great cameras. I think they're really small. I don't think people consider how small they are compared to M body. The screw mount lenses are pretty cheap. They're usually older, so they don't have that much contrast, but you do have a lot of options in the new segment. Thankfully, Voigtlander has been making screw mounts and still is to this day. I started off on my Leica M2 with a Voigtlander 50 scope R, and it was a screw mount, and it was awesome. So I think those Leica screw mounts are really nice, and you can attach like a wide angle, like a 21. I've always wanted that 21 super angle on f4, which you screw, and just kind of like a point and shoot Leica. And it's so small, it looks so old. I think no one's really going to consider you're shooting pictures of them. So yeah, that's what I think. I think they're really good. You have there in England, you have 35mmc.com, which is managed by Hamish Hill. He's got like some articles about the screw mounts. I highly recommend you guys check his website. He's got amazing content. I really agree with most of his reviews. So if you guys like this, these videos, you should check out his website if you don't already know about it. About developing chart there where they get their input, I think the site has some upload your time. Oh, I guess they do. I've never checked it out. Okay, so you have a broken pentagon. That's what I was telling you. Don't fix it. It's not worth it. Just try to find another body, or maybe you'll find a body with a lens you don't have already, and just go with it. Scene, nice to see you again. The Ilford low water usage stuff is worryingly short. Yeah, like a total of 35 inversions and 3 changes of water. I'm telling you, I live in a place where it rains all the time, kind of like London. So water supply is not a problem. And I wash my film thoroughly, and I wash it again, and I wash it again. So yeah, I recommend you extra wash. It's not gonna hurt the film. Always remember to keep the temperature pretty similar to the developing time. Like now we're in spring, but during winter, if you're developing at 20 degrees, which is 68 Fahrenheit, sorry if I did that conversion wrong, and you go for the water in your tap and that water is almost ice cold, you're gonna get reticulation, which is like the film just cracks. Like if you, basically like ice, you know? You have like a warm piece of like, I don't know, caramel, and you throw ice water, it's just gonna break. So be careful. Don't throw cold water into it, because that won't be good for that. So yeah, change your water, wash a lot, but keep it warm. The Art of Photography has a whole episode on the Pentagon 6. That's probably a great recommendation too. Lots of information there. Thank you, Timothy. Ramiro, hola. Perdona que es en inglés, pero el público es generalmente inglés. Analog Adventure, your Pentagon 6 images looked awesome, Nico. Creamy bokeh. Yeah, that's when, you know, you start film and you're like, oh, that bokeh. I guess that was my stage. That was probably shot, let me go back to that folder. That was probably shot on the 180 6.8. I mean 2.8, and probably kept it all at 2.8. And that's a friend that actually has a Lenhoff that should use it more. This is actually a really nice place. I want to take make a video over there. Okay, so M. Sulo, what medium format rangefinder would you recommend? Thinking about the Fuji 645. I actually just sold my 645W. I had the GA 645W. You can find, I think, a few pictures on my Instagram, which is on the description. It's Nicolas Yase, that's my name. I'm not very original. Okay, Ramiro, I didn't know you were fluent in English. Good for you. The 645 rangefinder. I had the Bronica RF, and that camera is amazing. There's an article in Japan Camera Hunter, which he says like it's one of the most undervalued cameras, because it was actually came out when Bronica was bought, I think, by Tamron, and they basically were like, it was top of the top. Like it was when film was at the best moment. Well, not best moment, but it was the most modern moment of film. And it was amazing. It's not cheap. It's like 900 euros or $1,000. And it has the worst advanced it, the shutter. It just sounds like an engine gone wrong. You know those old school point and shoots? Well, it sounds like 3 times worse than that. So that Bronica is pretty nice. Of course, you got the vertical viewfinder, so you got to change your orientation if you want to shoot landscape. That's more expensive. 645, then you go to the Fujis. Fuji cameras are totally undervalued. They're so good. I had the GA 645W because I wanted that 45mm lens. I have a few shots. I don't think there are any online except for maybe a few on my Instagram shooting slide. I made a whole video about it, so you'll see it. They're great cameras. Be careful because some of the Fuji, the first versions with the little bellows, the bellows were horrible. So I recommend you keep an eye on those bellows because they're bad. But the ones that have fixed no bellows are really good. So I recommend you check it out. They're cheap enough. They're like 250 euros for the cheaper versions. The GA645, the autofocus works well. The exposure works well. It even has like, it prints the data of your shots on the bottom out of the frame so you can remember if you did something wrong. It's a great way to learn if you're not familiar with exposure, or you're using autofocus, or using manual auto exposure. So yeah, I think they're really good. Really good cameras. I recommend them, but do remember that 645 is a format that a lot of people kind of don't like because it's very similar in format to the 35 millimeters. So yeah, be careful you don't grow out of it before you even start. Analog Adventure says, I have the Fuji GS 645S, the cheap of the bunch. I like it lightweight, easy to load, sharp lens. Yeah, they're really sharp lenses. Fuji lenses are probably one of the best. 60 millimeters f4, that's what they consider normal. Then the widest, the 45, and then you have the zoom one, which is pretty interesting. Colac from France says, do you think a Rolleiflex 3.5 or 2.8 is better? I have a Rollei 3.5C, but I haven't developed film yet. I honestly think 3.5 is more than enough on 6x6. 2.8, they're great cameras. I had a 2.8F and a 2.8E. Never had a 3.5. But honestly, shooting wide open, unless you shoot in really dark areas and you like I don't know, that unfocused, that's not going to be that big of a difference. That 3.5 is going to be great for you. I wouldn't worry about getting the latest and greatest, the 2.8, because it'll be just fine with the 3.5. Melongelon, going to sleep. Thanks for joining. I'll be back in a week, so greetings to Belgium from Spain. And Ramiro brings back the repair text. The shutter on my Ricoh GR broke some years ago. I took it to the official repair tech in Barcelona, and I got turned away for lack of parts. Any idea where I could take it in Europe? Ramiro, if you follow like Japan Camera Hunter, he actually says that Ricoh already stopped repairing the Ricoh cameras. So I'm sad to say that you might not find anywhere in Europe that can fix it. I do recommend, as you're asking about Europe, at least in Spain, there's Tamo, T-A-M-O, in Zaragoza, which is actually pretty serious about what they do. I would recommend at least giving them a call, as it's Spain. I don't know a lot of repair stores in Europe, but you can maybe ask a few stores that sell secondhand and ask them if you know where to repair. Maybe someone even actually on the comments can answer where you could repair a Ricoh. But I know they kind of break and that's it. If it's the motor, I think there's no spare parts. So yeah, that's the problem with those little pointed shoots, is they die and they die. So take good care of them. And they're awesome cameras. But yeah, that's all the questions we have for now. I'm gonna stay around till 10. If you guys don't have much more, I'll just call it a day and come back in a week. But I've been listening to a podcast that's called Against the Grain, made by 4 guys that are very active on Twitter and social media. And I was listening to the first episode. It was actually pretty interesting. It's funny how listening to podcasts can give you so many more ideas about what you would like to talk about, because they might have an opinion, you have a different opinion. So I recommend you guys check it out. It's interesting. I like listening to podcasts in the car. I'm kind of over my radio and my music. Do you guys listen to any podcasts that I could recommend? I know Matt Day has one. The Film Photography podcast is actually really fun. Big fan of those guys. And I listened to this Against the Grain, which I listened to episode 1, which was interesting. But Francisco, un saludo desde Bilbao. Do you want to test the Instaflex? Actually, you kind of got me off guard. Instaflex. What's the Instaflex? I don't know if I wrote that properly. There's no You mean the Instax? Or do you mean the Mint camera, those little ones? Colac from France. About that, what do you guys think about that Instax camera that came out, that hybrid digital analog they made out? I can't make my mind if I dislike it or like it. I'm more on the dislike, considering that it doesn't shoot instantly. I like the whole idea that you're probably not going to get a shot, because I have an Instax 210 and I never get a proper shot. But when it comes out nice, it's amazing. I kind of like that whole idea that you're gonna have to learn around the camera, not use filters and that. I'm gonna make a video on it. I think it's interesting for everyone to see what's that deal with that camera. Okay, Tom Rogers, any advice for young film photographers to help keep film alive? Actually, my only recommendation for anyone shooting, new or old, is to keep doing it. First of all, I would say keep shooting if you enjoy it, of course. Share, because it's always nice to share, even if it's with friends, family members, work member, like colleagues. Then keep respect. Like, I'm seeing a vibe of like digital against digital people, or against like youngsters that shoot. They don't print, or they don't, like, they scan, or they use their phone and they only use Instagram. Like, anyone shooting film or shooting pictures or doing any of this is awesome. I love the film community. I love that we can talk, that I can share, that people are open, that like I go to London and I meet people there. And I think that's the biggest, most important thing about keeping film alive, is having a positive mentality, being open. I think that's the most important. I think one should try to enjoy it. Always try to help someone that is curious. That's why I have this YouTube channel, because I find that when I started, people helped me out. And I think as much as I can give back, I'll reach as far as I can to help people out. And if I don't, it's because I'm busy, but that's because I've made myself busy with this channel and so forth. So yeah, that's what I would say. Keep a positive mind, be respectful, buy new film, support your labs, support, like the companies. Don't hate any company because they discontinue their product. These companies have shareholders, they do all these things, and they gotta make a profit. So like Fuji discontinued the FP100C and other films, and everyone's like, I don't know, like mad at them. I understand, I'm upset, but they're just trying to like go for it, like help and make more film. If Fuji really hated us, like they would have stopped doing slides. Why would they keep on doing slides when it's a small market? Like, it's really small. Tell me who's bought a new roll of slide film in the last month. Like, I bought one Velvia 50 because that's 10 euros and that's all I could afford. So like, I mean, that's crazy. But yeah, like just keep a positive mentality. That's what I would say. And learn how to shoot, read a lot, and listen, and collaborate. So Kolak answers, yes, the Mint. Yes, I would love to try the Mint. I'm not a big fan of the Instax mini film, but if I had to try out the Mint, I think it'd be fun. I think it would be. I don't have a way to get it right now. I don't know anyone that owns one around here. So if you guys want to help me find one, I'll be happy to test it. I read the first version had some trouble, actually, from Matt Day, but the second version is better. And I like the actual idea that, it's like a little TLR camera. So yeah, I'd be really happy to try it out. Okay, Analog Adventure. I haven't tried any of the instant new cameras. Doesn't trigger me much, really. I don't like it that much, but then when I started using Impossible Film and how the quality was not up to what I expected, I'm not saying it's not up to everyone else, but not to what I expected as an image, I went ahead and I bought like, I'm telling you, an Instax 210. So yeah, I thought it's fun, it's cheap enough, it's like $1 a shot. I shoot like maybe every month, like a few shots. I bought 100 exposures and I still have it, and it's been like 2 years, so it's not that crazy. But they don't have that feel. They're kind of like, I'm telling you, modern cameras. What would a modern film camera be like? It would probably be kind of like an Instax camera. So yeah, I'm with you. I don't really feel the camera. I do feel a medium. I like sharing pictures. I love giving a picture out. I've shot FP100C in the street and given the shots to kids, and they were amazed. I was with a Chamonix camera over, with a whole blanket. They loved it. So I think it's nice to share, to show photography to other people. Tony Santo Photography, I'm actually a follower of yours, Tony. Enjoy your content. I was looking at your lovely portrait images on Flickr. I tend to avoid color and negative because I'm terrible at scanning them. Sorry if I read wrong. Terrible at scanning them in a way the colors are pleasing. Any advice? I actually hate scanning until the point I stopped, and that's when I pretty much stopped uploading to Flickr. Color scanning, so hard. First recommendation with color scanning, buy new film. Expired film is so hard to match because it just looks weird somehow. It doesn't give you that like feel, like the colors are wrong. Maybe you get the blacks properly and then you don't get the colors. So I would say buy new film, develop it a proper lab or do it yourself properly, and then just test it. I use ViewScan, which worked pretty well, and I've tried to scan after a long period and it's not looking as good. But do check, there's this guy called Tim Palman. I'll write it down. I might write his name wrong. He's from Australia. He kind of collaborates with negative feedback. He made a video on YouTube about scanning. I think he's being very successful with that video. So I recommend you check it out and look at that video, see if you can get those settings properly done. Because I think either he's doing that video was pretty good. At least it got a lot of content, people talking about it. So that's what I recommend. And I used to scan with a border, and then it would get the mask and go crazy, and it's so hard. Color is so hard. I send it to my labs lately, and even though those Flickr shots are all mine, so at least I did it well once. Okay, Mikhail. Hello from Moscow. Hello from Bilbao, Spain. Thanks for the video. Thanks for your good comments. Well, that was a nice little thank you. So thank you to Russia. I actually have a good friend in St. Petersburg that shoots film, has a great lab. He's got Arto Photo. I might be writing this wrong. Something like that. And he's got a lab there, an exhibition, like little exhibit there, gallery. So if you guys can check it out, it's awesome. I want to go to Russia soon. I bought the first version of Mint. This is Babar Fi. Lasted 5 shots. Got a new under warranty. Haven't opened the box. That's sad. That's what I heard. I highly recommend you either open it and try it out, or sell it on eBay as new old stock of Mint cameras. Do you have a Super 8 camera from Colac in France? I actually do have a Super 8 camera. I have the Canon 310 XL that I bought for 10 bucks. And it has like a 50 0.9 lens, but remember, those little lenses are easier to make like very wide open. So I haven't shot Super 8 yet. I do want to do some Super 8 content, and I do want to scan it properly. I was waiting for Kodak to release that whole Super 8 camera and that whole you buy a pack and they return it in 4K. So I will do some Super 8 content. I'm not at all good at it or have no clue what I'm doing, but you guys will see me, fail and share my failures. So maybe you guys can learn something from that. I saw the framed analog adventure. I saw the framed show episode on Richard's Photo Lab, and I'm considering sending my next to them for scanning from Norway to the US. Okay, the machines they have and the way they scan has become very popular. I would even say trendy. They do a lot of pastel colors, and they treat that portrait like overexposed. I don't say it's bad, but it's, I think, much of a trend, and I highly recommend you test them out. But if you're in Norway, I can recommend a lab I use here in Spain. Has the same machinery that Richard Photo Lab, same scanners, same developing with that hanging, which is awesome. I'm gonna give you their name. They don't speak English. Their website is horribly old, but they are really good. I don't know the website all the way. If you need any help in sending it, I can actually arrange that for you easily. They're good friends apart from being great labs. So I recommend you send it maybe somewhere closer in Europe. And just try it out, or you can send 2 rolls to there. A lot of people also talk very well about Carmencita here in Spain. I also think they do a very similar job to Richard Photo Lab, but they use a machine with rollers to develop, and I'm not a big fan of my film going through wheels, even if they're clean. So you can check it out. There's labs in Europe, but I wouldn't say not to, but I would say if you're in Europe, just check out Europe first, maybe, and then go to traveling. Ramiro says, Tony Santo, try a plugin called Color Perfect. Yeah, I've heard that. It's a plugin for your Photoshop. I think you scan it as a negative, and then you click Color Perfect, and it inverts it and takes away the mask, and it actually works. I'm terrible at Photoshop. I don't even basically know how to open it, so I can't tell you myself. Okay, Sheepskin. Oh, I know you. When's the next film and beer in London? That's happening hopefully soon. I want to do one before I go to the States in summer, so soon. Also, Ebian is coming to Spain, hopefully. So if you want to join him, we might have a little, film and beer here in Bilbao. Tony Santo, thanks, Nico. Enjoy your content as well. Hey, hope I can help, or that helped. So your scans come out better. Do remember that it just takes patience, but yeah, and if not, send it to the lab. They do such great work. Those Frontiers have that algorithm for color that's amazing. Analog Adventure, do they do E6? The last shop that developed E6 closed in Norway last year. They do E6 every day, and they do C41 every day. They have separate lines with the whole shelves coming in and out, they dunk in. They're like hangers. They do E6 and C41 every day, plus black and white, and they do everything from sheet film up to 8x10 or bigger, and they can do a roll film. They do all kinds of films, so I highly recommend it. If you want, send me an email or find me through my social media, and I'll get you in contact with them or help you out. I can just translate for you if you want. Ramiro, Interfoto scans too. Yes, they do. They have an Imacon, Hasselblad's, kind of like the Flex type, but before Hasselblad bought it, that can scan 4x5 and 35, 120 film. They have a Frontier, I think 3000 that they scanned in manual, so you get better scans than automatic, because I don't know if you guys have seen, but they just go clunk, 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 so it works really well. And they scan also on another Frontier. I think it's a 1500 that does 35 and stuff like that. So yeah, it does. They do scan. Ramiro, if you check my Instagram, I think I've actually posted a few shots and that are them. And there's a video shooting the Mamiya RZ 4 videos ago. Those shots are developed by them and scanned by them. And that's the cheap scan, so you can get better. Sheepskin, I look forward to it, man. Also heard about Ebian, exciting. I'm going to be Cape Town when Ebian heads out. Well, we'll see you in London. I mean, hopefully we can match a little get-together there. Golak, what do you prefer, telemeter or SLR for everyday use? I've actually gotten used to rangefinders, which is what you're trying to say with telemeter, I think. Rangefinders have become something that I use all the time. So I've gotten really to love rangefinders. And now I look through an SLR and I don't like it. I would say, actually, to be specific, I shoot point and shoot 35, not a lot, but I do. I shoot 35 in rangefinders, a Leica M2 and things like that, almost every day. And then when I want to shoot something like a portrait, I will stop down and grab a Hasselblad, Mamiya RZ, and shoot SLR. I don't take along with TLRs. I've had bad experience with the camera failing on me with 2 Rolleiflexes, and I've had a Mamiya C330 and a few others, and I just don't get along. So I prefer a rangefinder for normal shots and SLRs for portraits on medium format. Ramiro, how is it compared to Carmencita? Ramiro, I can't say one is better than the other, but I would say Interfoto is there since film was an everyday thing. They used to do catalogs for El Corte Inglés. They used to do catalogs for slides and all these. Like, they have the experience of like 30 years of shooting film and making it look like it should. And I think Carmencita does a good job. They have a huge hype around them, but they are new to the game. They are young, which doesn't mean it's bad. But I think they are following that pastel color, low contrast kind of a style that's very popular. And I would probably go with with Interfoto if I had to send my film. Well, I actually send my film there. I'm telling you, this film here is coming from Interfoto, and I asked them not to cut it because I don't like people touching my film more than it's necessary. So I'll sleeve it myself. Oscar Alwinson asked about Orwo film. I have not shot with it, but I am in the means of buying some of it. So I will talk about it, hopefully with experience soon. They have like the 74 and another emulsion. I think it's like 100 speed and 400 speed, all in cans. So I would say get it. I think they're pretty popular in film industry, so I would recommend trying it. Analog Adventure says, I'm going to Mallorca in May and will bring Portra Hector and might bring Velvia. I might contact you after that trip to get sending them film. Yeah, if you want to send it from Mallorca, it's easy enough. I mean, you're in Spain, it's going to be cheaper. But yeah, they'll do a great job with your film. And Mallorca is beautiful, and especially like that light at summer with that hectare and the sunlight is great. And Portra also will work well. And Velvia, I would recommend, and this happened to me in a trip to Cerdeña, that's in Spanish. How do you say it in English? Well, I would highly recommend you take polarized filter for that Velvia, and those like beaches and the ocean is so pretty. So take a polarized filter for your camera and try to shoot some of that. And if you can take an underwater camera, do it. Enjoy Spain, it's pretty fun. Tom Rogers asks, generally, what is shooting street photography like in Spain? Every country is so different. Tom, I'm terrible at shooting street, so I'm maybe not be the best. Spain has turned, I think, to like every country in the regard about the interest of street photography. I find it that we all look the same now. Like Spain 20, 30 years ago was amazing. I mean, we were self-secluded with the dictatorship and the traditions and everything. So we've all turned into the same style. We all dress with the same jeans and t-shirts and shoes. So as an image, I would recommend, if you would come to Spain, to come to the popular parties, like the Running of the Bulls, like the Fallas in Valencia. Those are amazing. People still use the traditional clothing. But as people react towards you shooting street, I think people don't really mind much, but they don't really like it. I've been in trouble sometimes about like shooting like just random stuff, not even trying to go for street photography hardcore. I always end up to shooting old people because they never really complain. But I'd be careful shooting street photography here. It doesn't work with me, that whole like Eric Kim, just smile and walk away. Like, I just always look guilty, so I always get like people to eye contact too long and I'm in trouble. So who would I recommend to shoot street photography here in Spain? People are gonna kill me, I don't know this. I'll try to get back, but street photography in Spain, I think it's not that bad. It's not like the US that you think someone's gonna pull out a gun. Sorry for the American people, but it's not true. So here, you're just gonna get screamed at. Maybe someone will try to like take your camera maybe, but it's not very normal. Like, people really just don't care that much. Analog 65, hello from Germany. Hello to you from Spain. Enjoyed Germany at Photogina a lot last year. Surreal Boy, what rangefinder would you recommend for a beginner? Rangefinder for beginners, okay. I've heard about, is there rangefinders? The problem is, if they're good, they're expensive, and my main problem with rangefinders is that they don't get in the way and you can see the viewfinder properly. So I don't know. I wouldn't know which one to recommend. I know the Canon cameras are very popular as cheap alternatives. There's a few. I actually like. If you're a beginner, you didn't say money wise, so I'm gonna go for maybe not so expensive. My Leica M2 was 400 euros, which I don't consider is that expensive. Then lenses, people are like, oh, Leica glass is expensive. This is assuming around 35, but you can get Voigtlander glass for like 200 euros, 250. So you can shoot easily for like a 600 euro for rangefinder. If you don't want to go that expensive, I'm sure you can find maybe someone talking about cheap options to start rangefinder. I know there's a Konica, I want to say it's S35 or something like that. People talk a lot, but I saw it, I used it the other day, and the patch is so small, so it's not so easy. I would say also check those Nikon rangefinder, the old school ones, the Canon P, I think, or 7, I'm not sure. Those are cheap, and the Canon screw mount are cheap. The Leica screw mounts are good. And I'm sure the good thing about beginners is you want things as simple as ever, because you want to learn the whole setup. I don't like any automatic stuff. I don't like the M6. I hate those arrows pointing sideways. I never know what to do with those arrows. I'm used to having a clean viewfinder. So yeah, try to get something as manual as possible so you learn the whole thing. Also, being a rangefinder and a beginner, it's hard to focus sometimes and get it on the spot. But that's what I would recommend. If you want to go medium format, I highly recommend you go to Fuji GW690. It's huge. They call it the Texas Leica. It's like 400 bucks secondhand, and they're awesome. The patch is great. The lens is sharp. The film is expensive because it eats it, but it's great. To the next, Kolak asked, have I ever tested collodion? I've done demonstrations, not me, but I've gone to some. And I always thought if film were to die, I would shoot collodion. And then I saw it and I was like, if film were to die, maybe I should try like painting. I really respect people that do it. I think there's a tendency now that whatever comes out is good. So I have a, like, they're there with what people are doing. But yeah, I don't know if I have the habit to be so committed to like the chemistry, that ISO that changes depending on the altitude, the humidity. It's hardcore. I recommend you go check it out somewhere. You're in Paris. There's a girl, Spanish, that I'm gonna give you the name, that lives in Paris, and will have information of her exhibit. So maybe you can talk to her and she'll be probably happy to show you about. You can even say I sent you, she knows me, and you can check it out. Battle Brothers Trading, Spaniard speaks Spanish funny. Yeah, well, I actually even speak Spanish funny if you're talking about me. I'm bilingual, and sometimes I mess up English, sometimes I mess up Spanish. I'm pretty much not good in both of them. Miguel, hi Miguel, he's a friend. Konica Auto S3 is a good choice. That's the one I tested. Rangefinders, though, a little small. Add to, the arrows on the M6 tell you the direction you need to move the aperture towards the right exposure. I mean, I knew that, but I just find the viewfinder, first, the frame lines are more cluttered because I'm used to 35 on the M2, which is just a nice one frame line. And then the arrows just distract me. I know they are for that. I know what they're trying to say, but I like metering my own light. I know I meter with a Sekonic 308, and I meter once I go out and the light doesn't change a lot. I don't meter again. And I like being like, okay, this shot, I want to make that black, and I want to make this properly exposed, or I want to make this more of a white, and I want to expose those blacks properly. So that goes away when you use a meter in the camera. You can learn, I'm not saying you can't, but being so used to using my head as an exposure calculator, it's hard to go to those arrows. So I'm not saying it's bad, but it's not my style. Okay, so Kolak, you're welcome. Surreal Boy, another question, guys. Do you know any cheap alternatives to a Nikonos? I mean, cheap and good underwater film cameras. There's a Canon, what's the name? I'm typing, sorry. Canon underwater camera. Okay, I have it here on screen. It's a YouTube video. Canon WP1. It looks like a toy camera, but it's actually pretty decent. I have a friend that uses it, so I'm gonna write Canon WP1. one. They sell for like 20 bucks on eBay and stuff. So check it out. I'm sure you will find that useful, Surreal Boy. Analog Adventures, have you ever walked around a full day with a Mamiya RZ67? I have one, but don't know if I should bring it to Mallorca on my trip. It's so heavy. Talking about that, let me see, that Flickr. I'm gonna show you pictures I have on Flickr from the Mamiya RZ. And this was all shot handheld, and you can see those staircase. No strap. I did not own a strap for the RZ for a long time. So that set of shots, was basically all done with no strap and walked up and down. And that was walking all the way down to the ocean and then all the way up those stairs and then all the way down those stairs. And so it can be done, but don't kill yourself if you don't want to take it. I use my RZ at home right now. I'm turned pretty lazy, I guess. But yeah, that's what I recommend. Fran, yeah, estoy en directo. Es algo que he empezado los miércoles. You threw it over the edge at the top. No, I did not throw it. I sold it in a big time mistake and ended up buying another one. So you guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm gonna have to cut it off here. It's 10:07 and it's been an hour conversation. I hope you guys enjoyed it just as much as I did. I'm telling you, all these comments will disappear. So if you guys can like copy and paste them, or you want me to do so, I will. It's really sad that YouTube won't fix this. I've tried reading all over. But yeah, thanks for watching. All Wednesdays, I'm gonna be here. Yes, Fran. All Wednesdays, 9 Spanish time, which is 1 hour more than England. So it's like, I don't know, GTM +1, I think, or GMT. So yeah, thanks for watching and see you in a week. And think about those questions you guys want to have. Right? If you want to let me know before, find me through social media. You have Twitter, Instagram. I'm on Facebook, but I don't use it a lot. And you can ask me things so I can prep in ahead of like maybe give a better answer if I didn't know what I was going to talk about. But yeah, thanks for watching and see you guys in the next live video.